Shalom, everyone. I hope that you're doing fantastic. Thanks for joining. Okay, there's the moon that just popped out there. Amazing. Yesterday was the day of the moon, October the 5th. Today's the 6th, and it breaks to the day of the sun, because if you take the date, it'll make 19, but it's also a 10, and it's also a 28. That's amazing to me. We've got the energies, though, of the 8 down here and the 32 up here, which still comes back to the 8th house, which is 13. I just did the reading for the rune reading, and the rune itself was a 13, and the death card also came out, which is Scorpio energy. We know we got a lot of stuff going on right now with Pluto, so the energy is really shooting to the earth realm right now in a very, very big way, and it's picking up right here. I'm Shannon. This is Apex Tarot, a pure spirit, and I hope that you are doing fantastic. Like I said, today's October the 6th. This is the 24-hour Lenormand reading, and this is so amazing to me that this just popped out like that. And yesterday's date was the moon, and actually the moon came out in my second tarot reading today. I don't know if I just said that as well, but the moon itself came out, and here it jumps out again, and it's got the energies of Scorpio coming out. There's transformation today. Well, if we're going from the day of the moon to the day of the sun, and the year is 19, and that's the sun, things are being exposed. And if you didn't catch the magic video, because I know not everybody watches every single one of my videos that I do every day, but if you are somebody who did not catch that video and you're on this video hearing this, I did a magic video yesterday on the sun signs that are doing magic right now, that are in the zodiac, and in the nighttime. In the nighttime, they're doing it, and because they you know, people pray to the luminaries and stuff like that. We're not supposed to do that kind of stuff, but I think in this deck, this is actually a positive meaning out of this deck. We'll just go ahead and take it since it jumped out here, and see what's happening with this card. And so the 32 make a 5, and that's the Hierophant. If I'm going to correspond that with the tarot deck itself, let me find this real quick. And the 3 is the Empress energies. We've been having a lot about the Empress coming out. So this is, you know, this is public. That video that I did last night said it's social, and it is, and it's talking, the 3rd house is showing there. The 2nd house is still the Hierophant energies, which is Taurus energy. It's being spiritual and practical. And today's day, you know, also breaking down to, the 19 is a 10, which is a 1, which is the Magician. Right, and the 0 is a large entity, so we know it's social. And that came all out on that video that I did last night. It's amazing to me. And then the 2nd hierarchan is the High Priestess, being intuitive. And the rune today talked about using your intuition and your clairvoyance. And this is all about intuition with the moon. Right, it's mysterious stuff. All of it's coming right out. That's amazing to me. That's absolutely amazing. Go watch the rune reading and go watch the second. Actually, just go watch all the videos today if you have a chance to. Take some time today instead of watching some sitcom or something on TV. Go watch something that would be profitable for your spirit. That the spirit itself is bringing out for us to know. But this is positive, and you know, the moon is romantic energy, right? We've got to be careful, though, with that kind of stuff if we get caught up in our emotions, but you'll understand how to make those connections if you go watch that other video. But this is actually a positive card. It's love and romance, it's intuition, it's psychic abilities. What I just say, you know, today's date, what we're creating, and you can pick up on that kind of stuff, and then we create from that place, but it's being, you know, psychic or intuitive, right? It's, if we're talking number 2 with the High Priestess, there's also meant events that are going to happen today. Cause and effect things, because the sun itself, today's date breaks down to the 19th, today's the day of the sun, and the year of the sun. There are things that are in the sun's in Libra, which is very karmic energy. Death energy is also very karmic energy. That Pluto energy is reaping and sowing. It's a renewal of something. You put something in the ground, it's going to come back up. And that's what the death energy is about. All these numbers will go right to 13, which is 4, which is the Emperor also showing up there, which is war. And we see the Emperor today. It's amazing. This is amazing to me. But it's also romantic. But we have to use our intuition, and you don't just go falling in love with just anybody, right? It could cost in the end. This is psychic abilities, the imagination, and creativity, which is beautiful energy, like I said. But what the Spirit is bringing out for us to be reminded of is people are doing things in the night that are negative. And it's being exposed in the daytime on this channel because Spirit's had me speak about it. And they're using your emotions to do it. So that's why you've got to use your intuition. And if you're somebody who's doing that, today's the day to just release that stuff and not do it anymore. Let it die. Let it die. When you talk about the 8th house, just let it completely be transformed today. This is a creativity, are but a few of the ideas that I stand for, it says. It says, I reach across the sky and influence the waters, and the moon does. You and I are made up of 70% of water, and it pulls on our emotions. It says, I am admired all around, and I bring fame, and I bring honor. So the moon card depicts a crescent holding in her horns. Horns represent strength. We have to have strength where our emotions are concerned. And she's portraying here horns. And it says below her is a clockwork. If you can see that, it's like clockwork. It goes around each cycle, right? It's been admired for cultures and generations of time. And we have to be careful with the luminaries because, like I said, people worship luminaries, y'all. And it's there for us to keep time with. It's there to, use, but not to get all up in our emotions and wickedness with it. Let's see. The moon card does not quite live up to the brilliance of the sun, because as the sun comes out, everything is known. It's not secret anymore. And it says that she is more watery in nature, and she really wants to be a star. Well, the star in the deck represents exposure. Well, but the moon also gets exposure. Okay, it's also, deceptive though. And the star is something that exposes. There's difference in the moon and the stars and the sun. And the star itself, excuse me, I'm still having my coffee this morning. And the sun itself is a great big star. Okay, and let me see, I lost my place here. So it says that it really wants to be a star and to have recognition. Well, it does get recognition in a lot of ways, but it's not like the sun, how it gets. It says, think of the emotional, silvery screen, acting by intuition, by method, living the emotions of a part that they are playing in order to act. Okay, that didn't make any sense to me. This produces great creativity, but it can also create casualties, such as Marilyn Monroe. And if you don't know her story, go look it up. It's sad. The moon brings emotional illumination. We've seen the Hangman also come out in the segment. Actually, when I turned the camera off, I counted, I believe that there was 7 high arcanas that came out in that reading. Amazing to me. There's a lot of heavenly, really heavenly, emotional things happening. If we're talking Scorpio energy and death, that's emotional stuff. Especially in the natural, when somebody dies, that's emotional, grieving stuff. Right? And water is emotional things. The moon pulls on us. To me, this is profound. Because, it is connected to the moon. It's death energy. It's confusion energy. It should flip you around and get you to a place where you need to let go of some things emotionally today. Because the sun's out to expose it. It said that she wanted to be a star. Well, she can't because she's the moon. And you and I cannot be led by our emotions. We must be led by the light, not by the night. I'm just going to leave it there. It's there for us to learn from. It's there for us to tap in to the emotional, to have an understanding of what emotion is. Emotion is beautiful. It's refreshing, but we can't be led by that. We must have an understanding that when it comes back around in each one of its cycles, that we know how to push it back down, drown those emotions, and keep them there if it's going to be something that's going to be vital to you. It is death and life. Sun and night, death and life. Let us be ruled by the light, exposing the darkness, chasing that away. Even in the natural, when you turn your light switch on, the darkness goes away. It cannot stand up against the exposure of what you can see. I hope that makes sense. Sorry. That's amazing to me that came out. We've seen in the second reading the actual infinity sign, and the 8 is showing up right here, and that's strength. And it takes strength for you and I to get our emotions under control, because we can create from that place. The 8th house, the motto is, I create. What are you creating with your thoughts that get down into your emotions? And then you plant it, and then you keep watering it. And through each season, that seed is germinating, doing something in the earth, in you, and then it springs forth, and then it grows branches, and then it's very large, and then you got to come and cut that thing down if it's something that's not in the upright. Only truth shines. Only truth shines. Don't get caught up in the night, y'all. Shalom.